This was the most disorganized set I have ever been a part of.
Turns out we would go in at 4 a.m. and stock the shelves.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beauty Room Talk Podcast. Locker room talk if it's laid, and free talk therapy for makeup artists, because God knows that's expensive, and unless we're working bridal, we're not getting that.
Guys, you didn't let me see that intro until just now.
I had it in my brain, and I had to let it out. Hi, I'm Ashley. I am a film and television makeup artist, and on the other side of me here, I have...
I'm Makall. I am a bridal specialist, and we are on different sides of the country. We met online. We love Instagram.
It's been so fun. Honestly, we were I don't even remember. I think one of us followed the other. I think I followed you first, is what it was.
To be honest with you, I think it was one of those things where it was like, comment in the comments and find your community or whatever, and that's how we found each other.
I feel like it might have been something like that, and then we started talking, and all of a sudden, I got your number because I was like, you know what? Let's do this, queen. Chit-chatting and, figuring everything out and, just talking for a little bit kind of got us to this point where we're like, I feel like I should start a podcast. Listen.
You know what? What if we started a podcast? And here we are. Beauty Room Talk was born.
Beauty Room... It's a hard thing to say for me. That's a big word for Elmo. We are going to be talking shop, all things makeup when it comes to trends. It comes to, I don't know, what we do, horror stories, different parts of the industry, how we learned, where we learned. Anything that you want to know, we're going to talk about. So far, we've got 6 or 7 episodes planned, but those can change based on what you guys want to hear about. Why don't we just do a little intro and just let everybody know, who we are for realsies, not just this little short one that we did. So, Makall, you can start.
I don't know if you guys are ready for the tea. No, I'm just kidding.
We just give them a full, trauma dump in the first episode.
Yeah. Are you guys ready for my full-on trauma dump? You thought we were the therapist? No, you're actually the therapist. Okay.
You're listening to us, actually. We're the ones that can't get talk therapy, actually.
So, like I said, my name is Makall. I am a bridal specialist. I live in Las Vegas now, but I grew up in Utah, and that's kind of where I started. I was born and raised in Utah. Super, super small town. I started doing makeup when I was super, super young. I started dancing when I was 2. So makeup and dance just kind of go hand in hand. Makeup was never a taboo thing for me, even though I did grow up super religious, but my mom was like a Mac girl, and also my aunt was a Mac girl and was an artist. I had 2 makeup artist aunts. And so makeup was just always a thing. I would go to school with my makeup on and leave early to go to my dance competition. First days of school, I would have my mom put a red lip on me. My childhood best friend was absolutely terrified of me. The first day she saw me, she was like, why do you have a full beat on? It's literally the first day of 3rd grade. What's going on? I don't know. I just always loved makeup, and my mom taught me how to do makeup, sitting on her bathroom counter. She got me my first brush set, which I actually still have and use for body painting now. So that's kind of my beginning story. As the time goes on, makeup was just the one thing that I always had, whether I didn't have any friends or didn't have control over my situation. I had control over makeup, and that's kind of where my love stems from. And I also love just the way that I could make people feel. I was always the go-to girl for prom and homecoming. I always was the bestie girl that did your makeup, put your lashes on because you didn't know how. So that was kind of where I started, and that's what I like to do for my clients now. I like to, give that feeling of we're best friends, and we just like to chit chat and hang out while I do your makeup. It's fun instead of being so scary, because makeup can be really overwhelming, especially if you're not, I grew up with makeup, so I know the things, but for somebody that's getting married and have never worn makeup before, that's where I come in and make it not as scary.
Just a big part of beauty in general is you can be someone's best friend by making them leave your chair and feel like the prettiest person in the world, because they probably are.
Yeah, they literally are. So,
and it's just sometimes you need that extra push to really get you to be oh, hold on, I'm actually the hottest person in this room right now. Hold on.
No, seriously, that's my favorite part. Just like handing someone the mirror and then being like, "Oh my god, is that seriously me?" It's the best feeling
Yeah.
in the world.
We're not doing much else but enhancing what you already have a lot of the time. I think you and I both do makeup that way where it's like, I'm not gonna paint you per se. Like, I'm gonna paint
Right.
you, but I'm not gonna make you into like a whole other person. I'm going
Right.
to give you a stronger version of what you have now.
And if you want
Yeah.
to be someone else, we can do that too. But
Right. Like if you want to do something else and you want to be somebody else, like fine, we can totally create that. But for certain circumstances, we can do like your skin, but better. For me, so again, I'm Ashley. Hey, what's up? Born and raised New York. Very weird how I kind of got into makeup and everything because my mom wasn't super into it. She had her makeup that hadn't been changed from like the 80s. And that's what I started playing with. Whatever. It was fine. It was cute. It was a little kid playing with makeup. I never touched it again. I went to a Catholic school all my life. So I wasn't able to dye my hair, play with makeup, do this, do that until I was like 15 or 16, where I started doing theater. I'm just an overgrown theater kid. And that's how I got into makeup. I went to my first rehearsal, my first costume rehearsal for How to Succeed in Business, one of the high schools near me was doing. And one of the girls was like, "Do you not have a makeup bag?" And I was like, "No, I don't need one." And they're like, "No, you do. Actually, like you're going to need one. Here, you can use my foundation." And the foundation was a MAC Studio Fix. I don't remember the shade, but then I used it twice, and she was like, "Girl, just go get your own." I ended up buying my own, wrong shade. I think the shade was like the old Studio Fix when it was like orange, and it's like 2W like 42 or something like that. It was so wrong, so orange, and I wore that for years. Nice and good, like just running strong with it too. It sort of spiraled out there. I also became the friend that did everyone's makeup, again with the wrong foundation and the wrong palettes and everything. I was doing makeup all throughout high school, and then I started playing around with it a little bit more in college now that I had a bit more freedom. I liked it a lot. I was good at it ish, as good as I could be. Once COVID hit, that's when I started taking it a little more seriously. I made an Instagram for it. I started doing it on myself first. I was doing these big elaborate looks, and I feel like that wasn't really, it was fun, but it was a little bit harder for me to keep up. After I graduated college, I went to go get my makeup certification, and the rest is history. I started my beauty business. I've been working on film and television sets. I've done commercial shoots. My work's been published in magazines. So I feel like I've done a lot. But when somebody tells when somebody tells you like, "Oh, you've done so much for your age, like blah blah blah, you should be so proud of yourself." And I'm like, "Have I?"
have I really? Because I'm
Yeah.
feeling like I'm kind of the worst, right?
Right. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, "Oh, I feel like I haven't done enough." Like it's the imposter syndrome is so real,
Yes.
especially when you like make all these large achievements. That's the one. She's lactose intolerant and she's causing achievements. This is I'm truly running on like just fumes at this point.
You know what? Y'all, yesterday was her birthday and she was like, "Yeah, we'll hop on the podcast."
We'll have on the podcast today. And then
Excuse me?
I texted her at like, what was it? 10 my time or like 9 my time. And I was like, "Hey girl, I'm exhausted. I'm fucking tired. I might be a little late." But that's how I started. Here we are. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I feel like me and you both get told like, "You've done so much for your age, like you should be really, really proud of yourself." And then, the imposter syndrome kicks in and you're like, I feel like I'm not doing enough." But I feel like that's a good segue as to like why we started this podcast. Everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
Everybody feels like I'm not doing enough. I should be doing more. There's more followers over here. She has more likes, she has more views, she has more engagement. Her makeup is better. I feel like that's the core purpose of why we started this is because I feel like even though everybody feels that way, we all feel alone.
Mhm.
And so I feel like this podcast is just going to be, like you said in the beginning, a safe space for makeup artists to come and just be like, "Oh my God, I feel that way too." Or "I have that same exact problem. I thought I was the only one." Like, I feel like this podcast is going to be exactly that. And while we're going to be talking about silly things like trends, like just for the entertainment, but I feel like the core purpose like I said, is just going to be that safe space of like, girl, I feel that way too. You're not alone.
Yeah, I kind of said it at the beginning, and this is a little bit of a why should you give a shit about these two girls in front of a camera with microphones, right? Like, who needs another podcast? It's more of like, it's hard to hear these things from people who are just, I hate to say it this way, just famous on social media for doing makeup, not to name drop, but like, if Michaela sat down and was like, oh my God, I have so much imposter syndrome, it's hard to really like gauge that from somebody that almost feels untouchable. Where
Right.
obviously we know she's had her roots in makeup before, you know, she's never really been very open about it. So it's
Right.
kind of hard to hear from somebody who's already a celebrity, like, oh my God, I have an imposter syndrome and it's so hard and blah, blah, blah. It's a little more daunting and hard, not hard to believe necessarily, just not like,
Right.
wait, we're just two girls.
Yeah, and I feel like especially when, like, I do believe, like, celebrities are human, like, whatever,
Mhm.
but it
Yeah.
feels almost, like you said, daunting because if they're a celebrity and that's all, like, we've ever wanted to be is, like, this big, amazing, huge makeup artist, if they're feeling that way and I'm feeling that way, it's like, how where's the ending? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's almost the word that I was looking for was disingenuous. That's what it was.
yes.
It
Mhm.
almost feels disingenuous when they're already celebrities and they're like, or they don't have a background in makeup and suddenly they went viral for having this like makeup page, right? They're like, this is so hard. I feel like an imposter. Like, okay, that's great. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm very proud of the things that you've achieved so far. Like, it's not it necessarily like you don't need to have the imposter syndrome, but it's hard for me to relate to that because we're kind of not on the same level. Call and I are kind of like hands-on, like very nitty-gritty, doing other people's makeup, achieving all these things as well. And we're both sitting here like, I am simply not doing anything in my life that I'm supposed to be doing.
We have started from the bottom, like
Mm.
everybody, and we're working like everybody. I didn't just like wake up one night as an overnight sensation. You know, like I wish that would happen, but at the same time, there is, where like the majority of people, like there's the 1% of like that wake up famous and they're famous, they have their moment, and then there's the rest of us that are like working, and we're just and I feel like we lose sight of how important that section is. Like how important it is to have those middle ground, just everyday people that do their job and love their job. And that's who we are. And
Yeah,
that's what we want to be, you know?
exactly. We want to be that. We want to do our job. We want to have fun. And like we want to help you guys. Like we want to be there for others who are just starting out in the industry and those who have been in the industry and just also feel the same way of like, eh, you know. Also, before we keep going, I realized I never said this. We are on YouTube as well as audio streaming platforms. So if you're listening on an audio streaming platform, just know that you're missing every single facial reaction that I've ever made thus far. Same thing with Makall, and I talk with my hands a lot, so you're missing the like New York. I'm doing like the gabagool hand. So you're missing all of that. So make sure to check us out on the YouTube channel and subscribe to that if you're only listening to audio. But I understand if you don't want to see our beautiful faces. That's a loss on you.
You're missing out.
You're missing out. We have a lot of different perspectives on things. And like we've said, McCall does like a bunch of things. Like she's body painting, but like right now, as far as I know, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you're a bridal specialist. Whereas like I've sort of moved from bridal and I've gone to more private clients and commercial film and television. So again, two different ends of the spectrum. We're gonna go over our kits too. That was something that we were talking about, like a kit debrief, because we probably have a lot of the same things, but people have preferences and some things hold up better. So you'll learn like from the pros what looks better on a camera, what looks better on like bridal, and then you'll learn if you're watching the YouTube channel that whatever I did today is not what looks good on camera. I look sweaty right now. Just let it go.
Stop, girl, you do not.
I'm
Oh
I
my
did too
god.
much of something and now I look wet.
It's in. The wet look is in.
The wet look is so in, but I look like I took a shower and the rest of my body is dry.
It's fine.
How this is gonna work, McCall, do you want to take this one?
Yes. So our plan right now is to have an episode out every 2 weeks. We are still starting and we're still, planning. Like she said in the beginning, we have about 6 episodes planned. So our goal is to have an episode out every 2 weeks on Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So again, you can see us on audio streaming platforms or on YouTube. And we're going to plan the episodes with topics that we want to talk about, but we also want to hear what you guys want us to talk about. So we have a submission form for you guys to let us know what you want to hear. If you want to hear about our kits, let us know. If you want to hear about how we navigate our situations, and we're from different sides of the country, like I said. So Ashley's got the film aspect, I've got the bridal aspect, and we've both done everything in between. So we want to hear what you want to hear.
Right. So I'm going to put that topic submission form in. If you're listening on like an audio platform, it's going to be in the show notes. If you're on YouTube, it'll be in the description. And then it's also in our bio on Instagram. And I believe we have it linked on TikTok, but I honestly have no idea about the TikTok one. I got to check. Everything's in there. We also have a link tree with like all of our socials, including Makall's and mine. I'll be editing these. I also still work a full-time job as well. Every 2 weeks makes it work for us. I know it's a little bit annoying to have to wait that long for another episode, but I'm going to try and smush as much editing as I can into like 1 week. As crazy as that might sound, I'm not a machine.
I don't think she sleeps.
I don't. If any of my friends are watching this right now, they can tell you, and I'm sure that they're happy to leave it in the comments about how I don't sleep. They just made fun of me about that yesterday. I don't know. One of my family members turned around and was like, "Oh, Ashley's like she just needs to relax. Like she's a girl that likes to relax sometimes." One of my friends looks at her and goes, "Relaxed and Ashley are 2 words that I have never heard in the same sentence in the 7 years that I've known her." And I'm like, that is horrible, actually.
But I'll take it. Thanks so
But,
much.
like, I guess I'm just a girl that loves to grind. What can I say?
We love the grind. We're here for the
We
grind.
do. We do. I literally have a client that texted me. She's like, "Hey, do you want to do my makeup at 3?" I was like, "Hey, girl, I actually start my like night shifts at 2:30. Can I be with you at like 11? Maybe." I don't sleep. What am I doing? Another thing that we wanted to mention that we're going to be doing, like, yes, topic submissions and chit-chatting. Talking to the 2 of us just alone might get a little boring. So to break it up, we're going to be doing something called beauty calls, which Makall very amazingly came up with. So beauty calls are going to be when we bring in a 3rd or 4th person to come into the show, talk to us about their experience, a specific topic, whatever they want to talk about, kind of give the education to you guys. So we have a pretty long list of people so far that we want to bring on. Some are industry professionals of 2 years, some are industry professionals of 30 years, worked for Chanel, worked for, I don't know, Mariah Carey. We've got quite a few people on there that we're really excited on. We also have hairdressers on there as well, salon owners. So this is going to be a little bit more of, yes, it's going to be makeup, but I think we're also going to go down the route of hair, fashion. I know we have a business owner who owns a fashion brand who's coming on at some point. So we kind of have a little bit of everything. So you'll get a big overview of what it's like to work in beauty, fashion, etc., etc. If you're not necessarily a makeup artist, but you're into hair, or you want to start a business and you don't care what kind of business it is, you just want to hear from somebody else on what it's like to be a 20-something, opening your own business, doing everything by hand, like bootstrapping it because you don't have like a venture capitalist. We're gonna have them, and they're all super fun and they're all super nice. And this is not about gatekeeping. If you watch my Charlotte Tilbury masterclass video, I mentioned I was like, I'm gonna gatekeep. I'm not actually gatekeeping. I just wanted everybody to come to this podcast, and I'm going to go through exactly what happened at the masterclass, okay? So we're not about gatekeeping. We're just going to do it all. I'm taking off my shoes, and I'm trying to make sure that it's not loud or unplugs my microphone. This is so funny. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can see both of our setups, but what you can't see is that I am on my client chair, and it's a spinny chair. And this is the first time in my life that I've ever been too tall to touch I'm too tall to touch the ground, so I'm just kicking my little feet under the table. And I'm like, this must be what short people feel like on normal chairs.
I wanted to go back to the beauty call thing. I also
Mm.
want to leave it open to our listeners and viewers. Like, if you feel like you want to be on the podcast or you have something to share or you feel like something would be beneficial, let us know because we want to bring on anybody and everybody that could be helpful to the audience. And we want to hear your story and what you have to give and your tips. Like, we're open to anybody. So if you feel like you want to be on or you have something to share, let us know.
There's also, we have an option to do not like video calls. If you can't make it on the actual podcast, I can easily just, if you want to send us a video submission, I'll actually put that in the topic form too, the topic sheet. You can put video submission if you want to say something, if put your input in there, if you want to talk about like what you do, anything like that, send a video. Or send us a DM. Just be like, hey girl, I have something that I want to say about this topic that you guys might be talking about. I want to send it and I can't be on the show. Fine.
Yes.
Or if you want to just say something and you don't want to have your face on it, DM us. Like, it's totally fine. Beauty calls are great. I'm so excited for
We're
them.
gonna have so many fun people.
How you, she came up with that name and I don't even remember where I was. I was like, this is amazing. This is the best thing ever. She was like, it sounds like a booty call. I love it. I love it so much. Okay, I don't have a good segue. I'm gonna be honest. We're gonna do a little to a different topic because I don't know how to segue to it. I didn't leave an open door there. My bad. So we kind of want to talk about our first jobs in the industry. We're not going to go super in depth with it solely because we are going to do a full episode dedicated to this. But I figured you should like get to know us a little more. So I'm going to let Makall start because I will go on for like 30 minutes.
Said I've been doing this for it feels like my whole life. So I think my first job in like the beauty industry, I had just turned 18. I had always wanted to work at Ulta. Like that was my end all be all. I was gonna work at Ulta. I was gonna slay the day at the cash register. I ended up applying and I got the job. I was thrilled, ecstatic, like I was so excited. Turns out I was working the 4 a.m. like filler shift. Like we would go in at 4 a.m. and stock the shelves. And I was like, oh my God, what? You know what I mean? It was my first day. I came in like full beat at like 4 a.m. because I
No.
thought we were like opening. Like I was like, I'm ready to go. And everybody's like in sweats and no makeup, hair tied up. I just remember my manager being like, okay, I'm just gonna have you go face the shelves. And I was like, okay. Great. I have no idea what that means. But am I gonna ask? No. So I'm like walking around, like touching things on the shelf. And the other girls are like, do you know what you're doing? I was like, absolutely not. Then they're like, okay, well, we'll just have you stock the hair section in Ulta, like in the back. So they give me all these boxes on this rolly cart and they're like having me put it away. It's taking me forever to stock the shelf because I have no idea where anything goes. So it took me like 3 hours to stock like 2 boxes. And
So
I
you
was
got
like,
hazed.
literally, I was hazed. Like,
You got hazed by Ulta, is what I'm
it's
hearing.
It's a crime. It's literally a crime. Go back and they only had me scheduled for these early morning shifts. And I was like, I wanted to be a prestige artist. Like, what's going on? For like the first 2 weeks, I worked the 4 a.m. shift. I don't know what the goal was on that, but I talked to my manager.
Amazing.
I was like, I need to be on the floor. Like, I need to have my moment. I ended up, kind of going back and forth. They did have me as the prestige artist where I would like walk around. Tarte was like my vibe. So I would walk around Tarte, help people. I wasn't allowed to do full faces of makeup, but I was allowed to like do little touch-up moments. And anyway, I ended up being fired from Ulta. So that's
Say
that.
that.
I loved it so much. We were coming up to holiday season. So we were in November and they were looking for like a fragrance specialist. And I was like, oh my God, I would love to learn. So I was chosen to be the fragrance expert. I was also like doing cash register and like doing all of the things. I was wearing many hats at Ulta. Like, you go into Ulta, they're like, what's your phone number? So
Yeah,
you type
yeah,
in your phone
yeah,
number.
yeah.
The loyalty points. My Ulta, if somebody didn't give you a phone number, that was like a ding on you, like black mark on you. And if you had so many people tell you no, they would cut your hours.
Stop
So
it.
I was like, oh my God, I needed the hours. I had just graduated high school. I was trying to move to California at the time to go to makeup school. And so I was
Let's
like, I need the
go.
hours. Like, what are you talking about? So, they cut my hours to like 15 hours a week because I was getting told no at the cash wrap so many times. So what I ended up doing was I put in my sister's phone number and my mom's phone number if anybody told me no. Because I was just like, well, like, I'm trying to work, you know what I mean? So I was putting in my mom's phone number a lot. My mom comes into Ulta. She uses the points and she gets a free gift. I didn't really think of anything of it, but I was just like, okay, like, whatever. A couple days later, they call me into the office and they're like, I'm on the phone with like some HR dude. And he's like, how are you liking Ulta? Like hyping me up. And then he's like, so we saw on the cameras that your mom came in and used all these points that we've looked back and she didn't accumulate. Technically, you stole from us and we want $250 from you. And I was like,
Makall.
oh my God. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was trying to not get told no. Like, I didn't mean to. It wasn't malicious. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They made me write an apology letter. I sent in the apology letter. I had just got paid, so I paid them the $250, which I was working $15 an hour or $11 an hour for 15 hours a week. My full paycheck, Veterans Day. So we had like this long weekend, and they're like, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. Then they have me come in, and she's like, yeah, you're terminated. Paid Ulta, wrote an apology letter. I was so sorry, but they still fired me. But at the end of the day, they fired me. I ended up going to Starbucks and meeting like my best friend in the whole entire world. Met her there, and that's where I, saved up enough money to move to Vegas now and, start my career here. So everything happens for a reason. I was devastated at the time, but can't work at Ulta forever. That's another point is like, even if you're fired in the most like horrific way possible, I've been fired 3 times from beauty industry jobs, and it always feels like the end of my life, but here I am doing better than ever. So if you do get fired or if it feels like a door shuts and slams in your face, it's not the end of the world because it always happens for a reason. And that's my crazy first job story.
Again, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you just missed my entire like facial. That was wait. That was crazy.
I'm ready
So
for
wait,
the tea.
they made you pay them?
Yes, because I technically stole from them. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's
I'll pay
not
you right
that
now.
deep. They're a
It,
multi-million-dollar company.
it really wasn't that
$250
deep.
is like not even a drop in the bucket. What gift did your mom even get?
Yeah, I don't know, but I remember I was just like horrified because I was like, "Oh my God, I did not mean to like steal from y'all. Like I was just trying to like stay on the roster. Like please help me." So that's why I literally like paid them that day. Like I was like, "I'm so sorry. Like I did not." And they were still like, "Sorry, you need to leave."
Oh my
Thanks for your tea though.
God.
Yeah, girl, it was
Wait.
crazy.
That is insane. I am, first of all, so sorry. Second of all, Ulta, that's stupid as hell. We're never getting like an
Also,
Ulta
I'm coming for
partnership.
you.
Also, we're coming for you. We're gonna end up getting like a cease and desist because we just gave this
Oh my
whole
God.
story.
Sorry that you terminated me like that. It's not my problem. No.
Sorry. I can't. I see. I've gotten all my beauty jobs because someone else got fired. So I'm kind of the other way around. My first like actual official beauty job was on a film set because I like the entire hair and makeup team got fired. All of them. And
Hello?
every single one of them apparently got fired. And that should have been like the biggest red flag for me going into this, but it's fine. So my friend happened to be working on this set. I will not, for legal reasons, name the name of the movie or the production company that it was with, but he was working with them at the time as an intern or a PA intern, whatever you want to call it. And he was with them for about 2 weeks or something like that. I got a text out of nowhere in like February, and he's like, "Hey girl, do you do makeup still?" I'm like, "Of course I do. I just graduated, got my certification. Like, of course." He's like, "Great. You're not in Connecticut, right?" And I'm like, "I'm not, but I can be." And he's like, "Awesome." So I'm working on this film, and it's a coming of age film. And I don't know what happened, but I just heard the entire production team freaking out on the hair and makeup team. and they fired them just out of nowhere. So
Naturally.
we've stopped filming. We've put a pause on filming, and we're just gonna like look for a new one. So I thought of you. They're hiring somebody else as well, but like, do you want to come help him? Because there's a lot of people. And I was like, oh my god, this is so exciting! Yeah. So they gave me the guy's number. It was really like low key, kind of weird. Like it was a weird conversation. I wasn't allowed to talk to the actual director, which is fine, and I expected that. But like the producer was the executive producer, I think is what he was. I don't really remember. He's like, great, like we're so happy to have you. This was like a pretty large film, mind you. Like they had some decent feature film names in there. And also one of my friends that I still work with now, I met him there. So I was like, okay, whatever. A low budget, allegedly. They were only paying me like, I think it was $180 for the whole weekend. And I said yes. So
As we do in the beginning, right?
as we do in the beginning, I'm telling you this as somebody who has done it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You are worth a lot more than $180 for 4 days. So I was like, oh my god, yes, let's do it. So my dad ends up coming to set with me because he's like, you're not going up to Connecticut by yourself. And my mom said the same thing. I was like, whatever, fine. I go. It's me and one of the people that I'm gonna have on as a beauty call guest that I'd love to have on. So he became my mentor, which was amazing, and he's a sweetheart. This was the most disorganized set I have ever been a part of. I had zero guidance from the director of what he wanted. Wow. Do you hear my stomach growling? Hold on. We're going to take a pause for that.
We're starving. We're starving.
We are. My bagel is sitting outside.
Starving artists. You and
Yeah.
bagels, girl. What the hell?
My bagel is sitting outside. I was gonna eat it, and then I started doing my makeup, and it's just I'm gonna get it in a second. I'll get it later. It was super disorganized. The makeup, like the key makeup artist had no direction. I had no direction because he had no direction. So we were just kind of winging it. And I will never forget this. I still have the photo of this like cheerleader scene that they wanted us to do. And they wanted me to do the makeup. I was like, great, what do you guys want? And they're like, I don't know, make her look like a cheerleader. Do you want to know?
What?
Do you want to know what I put on this girl?
Yeah, I really do.
The whitest foundation you have ever seen. Bright red lipstick. Or no, she was a stripper, not a cheerleader. I think it was like both.
Both.
It might have been both. Honestly, this movie was weird as fuck. And do you know the Lemonhead LA glitter palettes? The super whatever.
The LA
Oh, God.
girl?
No, it's oh my god, the Space Paste palette. The Lemonhead LA Space Paste palette. That's so many words.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
From Euphoria, yeah. So I had
Yes.
those two. Girl, I took a glob of that blue glitter and I just slapped it on her eyes. It was like moving. It was not working. I was like, this is great. And she went on screen like that. I still think about that to this day and it haunts me.
You know what?
Because
For $180, that was your payback.
you know what? It's what they get. Yeah, she goes on screen like that, and I'm like, okay, we just have to accept that this is what it looks like, and like that's that. And I was like, sick. Sounds so fun, so good. The movie is still in post-production. This movie was filmed in 2021. I have a feeling this movie's never seeing the light of day, and maybe that's like a good thing.
There's so many films like that. Literally almost every film I've done, it's like still in post-production, and I did it in 2020. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Like 2020, I kind of expect because of everything that went on. I'm like, okay, yeah,
Right.
great. Like the pandemic was not over, but we were kind of like at the point where we were working on things. We were moving forward. It's still on IMDb too. Like it's on my IMDb credit and it just says post-production. And then I think the other like two films I've worked on, I still haven't seen to this day. There's
Okay.
one that I'm like, I'm too nervous to text anybody from one of them because I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna
Right.
sound so needy. Just know if you work in film and you work on smaller films, you might never see those films. Just keep the call sheets. That's it.
But I also kind of want to share like where we learned, what we inspired us and like what our goals are now. Like we've got a little
Yeah.
bit of introduction going on, but like where are we going from here? And I'll let you start on that.
So for me, like I said, I'm a girl who wears a lot of hats. I do beauty, I do a bunch of other things as well. I have this idea, right? I have this big idea that I can do like everything, which is true. I can do whatever.
You can.
So I own my own company. I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, I obviously own my own company. I have the name in LED lights behind me. I'm wearing the merch. Like, I own Narcissus Beauty, which is a mythology inspired makeup brand. So we go through like different world mythologies and things like that. That was a brainchild of when I was in my certification class, and we'll get a little bit into like the actual certification classes and stuff in another episode. So if you kind of hear us both alluding to it, it's because we want to talk about it later on. I had this idea in that class, and since then just created it and kind of did that. And then I started doing beauty, and now under Narcissus Beauty, kind of like I'm doing clients and films and things like that. Like, our makeup was once, we were like the only makeup used on a runway show, right? So I kind of want to be able to focus on my makeup brand and grow that and expand that and continue to do makeup and be the artist and the CEO and the little influencer girly, right? Like the podcaster. I want to do it all. I kind of just want to be that like overarching, like, this girl does everything and how does she do it?
That's literally me when I met you.
Yeah.
How do you do it? How are you literally doing everything?
I don't know. I don't know. And I think it's because I have a really bad sense of focus, but like I want to continue to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
for me, by doing that, I can live my like dynasty dreams. For those of you who know the show, like, I can live my dynasty dreams and I can create something that's better for anybody that comes after me. Do you know what I mean? So anyone after me, like, I want to be able to build that empire on my, that sounds so cliche, especially because I'm talking in front of a microphone. Like, I
Right.
sound like one of those guys. I'm like, oh, you can build your empire, whatever, and be an alpha male, and you can build your like. Shut up, shut up, Ashley. So, but realistically,
Take.
like, oh my god, that's me. I'm just gonna actually shave my head. Um, just gonna shave my head. What does he have? He has like glasses and a mustache or something like that. I don't remember
Oh
what he
my
looks like.
hell.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
Yeah. No, that's what I want to do though. Like, I want to be able to have a resume so damn long that I don't even know what my own title is.
Sorry, not to interrupt. I
No,
just
you're
have
fine.
to say, like, if you guys haven't checked out her beauty brand, like, it's amazing. The lipsticks alone, I feel like we are supposed to be connected in this way. I literally have the lipstick bottle that is her design tattooed on my skin. If you're watching on YouTube, you have to at least just skip to this part because
I wonder if I hold it like this, if we can see it better. I don't even
yeah,
know where the center of my camera is.
it's probably one of my worst tattoos, but
She's like, hey, this tattoo sucks, and so do your packaging.
it's actually one of
Like,
my worst tattoos and one of the dumbest tattoos I have, but, like, it's just the design and the thought and everything that goes into it, like, you have to check it out. Like, I'm obsessed,
thanks, friend.
and I know anybody watching is gonna also be obsessed because it's just so different and we need different. So,
Yeah,
happy for you, and I know that you're gonna keep doing amazing things in that.
thanks. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the brand in like another episode because I'm gonna bring on one of my teammates who's been with me from the beginning, so I won't delve into it too hard. But yeah, I kind of want to do that. I want to be a multi hyphenate, and just do it all. I really want to make my own movies. I want to be. I want to have all the beauty stuff too, but I also want to like have my own production company. Like, I want to have
Yeah.
like under Narcissus Beauty, I want to have like maybe like a production company and like an entertainment company, and like we do all that, and then I get like a team together. I just want to do it all. Okay, I
That would
just
be
want to be.
so cool.
Okay, now you. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I didn't touch on, like, my education, so I'll give a little bit of that. Like I said, I grew up in Utah. I was self-taught until I was about 18 years old, and then I moved to Vegas. There is a school out here called Ella Makeup Institute. Almost every artist out here in Vegas goes to that school. So I went there. I graduated valedictorian of 2021 of all of the classes that went, so I did very well in school, and then
Okay.
just had to,
Snap.
you know. So did the schooling. I learned makeup, hair, body painting, and special effects. When I went into school, I was very special effects heavy, very makeup effects heavy. and I did not know how to do brown eyeshadow to save my life.
Are you
I did
serious?
No, I'm so serious, which is so crazy. I have so many friends, which if y'all are watching this, I apologize. I did you so dirty with the brown eyeshadow. Did you so like so bad. Like I have done some people so dirty thinking that I could do a natural look because I started out, if you scroll all the way down to my like the bottom and the beginning of my Instagram,
I'm
it was
running.
very 2014, 2016, which like we'll talk about later again. Very colorful, very like painting on your face, very much like YouTuber era. And then I was like, I could do people's makeup, and I did, and it was so bad. So anyway, went to school and I learned. I hated bridal. I hated it so bad. I was like,
Yeah.
why would you do natural makeup? Like, what's the point? And then I remember taking like a no makeup kind of crash course in school, and I just like fell in love with the no makeup look, and I did it really really well. And that's kind of been my niche after school. I've been graduated since 2021, and I just really dove into that niche and made myself be good at it. Because if anybody that's watching this knows me, if I'm not good at something, that bugs me like so bad. So
Same. I
I
have to be
need to
good
be
at
the best at everything. So
it. I have to be the best. Wow, that's
I
a
really
lot to unpack.
yeah, that's a lot to unpack. But anyway, just made myself be good at the natural makeup, and now that is my niche. That is my bread and butter. That is what I do. To be honest with y'all, like I am living my dream right now. Like I get to do clients. I do this full time, and that's all that I really ever wanted to do was like be a makeup artist. And that always in the beginning felt like so untouchable. I remember having like a crisis with my mom because I grew up all my life, even though makeup was always a love for me. I grew up my entire life telling people I was going to go to Harvard Law. Like that was it. That was what I was going to do. I was going to be the next Judge Judy, y'all. Like that was my
Stop.
obsession. I was obsessed with Judge Judy, and that was going to be me and the legal system. And then I was going with the motions of that, and I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. And I had this breakdown of like, well, I would be a makeup artist if I could choose anything in the world. And my mom was like, well, then choose that, So that's what I chose, and that's what I'm doing. My like neon dream, I like to say, is like I would love to do celebrity makeup. I know some people are like, watch what you wish for, but I really, really would love to do celebrity makeup. I would love to be on a Marvel film. That has always been one of my goals. And I also would really love to build my own school. Education is really
Same.
hard. Education is really hard, especially in the beauty industry. It's like you go to school and you learn, but you also don't learn. Like you learn everything and nothing at the same time. So
Mhm.
I would really love to build my own school, really be able to teach people how to be business owners rather than just artists, because everybody's an artist. Everybody can be an artist, but like to run a business and to, make profit and make a living is like a whole other different thing. So I'd really love to get into education as well, which I am starting to. I'm doing the master class, which I'm a little plug for myself. I'm hosting a masterclass.
Everybody go to Makall's masterclass.
Yes, which I think this episode will probably air before my masterclass, so hit me up. I love
Fingers
education. I
crossed.
want to teach people. Yeah, that's my goal.
I love that. Wait, that's so cute. Because I also want to have a school. So I'm like, what
Yeah.
if we did a school together?
You know what? Maybe that's where the school is born.
Honestly, go to Makall's masterclass. She has worked so hard on this. Also, I saw the intro video. I want to say this very quickly. I saw the intro video and I was like, this is badass. I'm like, this is
Me.
fire. No, it was
Oh,
it was really good. And I'm very excited to see it. I won't be able to be in attendance, unfortunately. So she'll be live streaming it as well as doing it in person. So if you want to be part of, why don't you drop your prices?
yeah, totally. So the in-person masterclass, if you're listening in Vegas, it's $300 to come. It's gonna be a 2-hour masterclass of my natural glam niche, like what I do, how do I make natural makeup look good on camera, because cameras are good now.
Mhm.
So it'll be 2 hours of that. We'll have a little break. We're gonna have really yummy lunch, and then we're also going to be doing about an hour of marketing, content creation, marketing tactics that I use that have worked for me, a huge deep dive into like how I built my brand from the ground up with no help and no money. So it'll be a really big, class on that. And we're also going to have a really cute goodie bag that Narcissus Beauty will also be starring in. So you don't want to miss that. And then also, if you're not listening in Vegas, it will be live streamed, which is going to be half the price. So you'll kind of forfeit the goodie bag and the lunch and things like that and the location, but you will get all of the content live streamed. And then we're also going to be working on possibly selling it digitally a couple months after, once we get it edited and things like that. So
Yeah.
Masterclass is in full swing.
Dude, I'm very excited for it. I want to see it. I'm also very impressed with Makall's makeup. I want to say this because our next episode kind of delves into what I'm about to say. Makall and I have had conversations about like, oh, we like this makeup, we don't like this makeup, or this and that, or like other people that we've like seen. I am very impressed with Makall's makeup because I'm also very particular when I see other people do makeup, and truly hers is one of the few like makeup artists I've seen in bridal that I haven't been like, they don't look like themselves. Like when she posts her before and after, you can still tell it's the same person. And to me, I feel like that's a bigger achievement in makeup. One of my teachers actually told me that. That's a bigger achievement in makeup than it is to paint somebody else into a different person. Because it's harder to make somebody look like a better version of themselves than it is to make them look like an oil painting, right?
Well, thank you. That's really sweet of you.
I do love it. If you're in Vegas, book Makall. Like, please.
If you're in New York, book Ashley.
Thanks. I can only do mornings from Tuesday through Saturday. I can only do mornings. So if anything else, you're shit out of luck. That is our first episode of Beauty Room Talk podcast. I hope that it made sense. I hope that we did a good job making sense and giving you a good intro. And I hope we don't seem like scary people. Makall, do you have any closings?
I'm just super grateful if you're listening at all. Like, both of us have really always wanted to do a podcast. So just the fact that you've listened this far, like, we really, really appreciate you. You know, this is just super fun for us. And I'm just so happy to be here. So thanks so much for listening and watching. And I hope that you guys stay tuned for the next episodes.
This is literally what happens when you put two like yapping makeup artists together and then we have to do this. We do hope you got your beauty fix in this week's episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Beauty Room Talk Pod and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more beauty content. We are posting on YouTube, on different streaming platforms. So wherever you get your streaming for your podcast, you can get us. And you can also submit your episode topic. Feel free to submit it in the link in the show notes or in the description, and make sure you leave a comment about your favorite part of the episode and what you want to see. You can also leave your submissions in the comments as well, because we will be reading those. And Makall, what are your socials? Where can they find you?
So you can find me at by Makall on any socials, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. I'm on all the things. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait for the next episodes.
Wait, I gotta do my out.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So I am on all of the socials as well. You can find me at amariiecon.mua. So that's amariiecon.mua. On Instagram and TikTok. On YouTube, I'm just amariiecon. And you can find Narcissus Beauty at Narcissus Beauty Co. on Instagram and TikTok, and our website, narcissusbeauty.com. And that's, I think, all we have. And thank you guys for joining us. This is so fun. I can't wait for the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks, y'all.
Bye, friends.
Bye.